Hello, my magical humans. Miss J here, and this is the Miss J Experience, a show that's a conversation about the experience of life. Together, we're going to dissect all those juicy little details and actually develop habits to live a more fruitful life. So join me on this second episode, and make sure you watch the first one, and come on this journey with me. Let's go. So excited to have the incomparable Kyla Silk. Now, I'm kind of already having a tradition, even though we've already done one episode, she can talk today. What is the Kyla Silk come up story?
Oh.
I know we're still coming up.
Yeah, we're still coming up.
What is the origin story?
I was raised in Levittown.
Love, Long Island, represent.
Yeah. I live in the house that my dad grew up in.
Love.
Which is interesting.
That he like grew up in, like formative years, developmental years in the house.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Yeah. My mom is from Brazil.
How did I not know that?
And I'm an only child. Parents have been divorced since I was 3. My whole family is very creative.
Love.
All really connect through music, cooking, dancing. And just, we have a very rich flavor blended family.
I love that. You just described my family. I'm like music, dancing, food. We got it all.
Laughs.
Laughs.
You know.
Cries.
Oh, yeah.
Tears. Cries.
Oh, sure.
Love.
And I've been singing for as long as I can remember, like, I guess since before I could really hold a conversation. I was raised on punk rock, reggae, bossa nova, house music.
Love.
And growing up, I just was always a music kid. Everybody's always known me as a singer, and I've been performing since I was very young, probably about 7 or 8. And
like with school or professionally?
With school. Okay. Professionally, I've been in the business of working as a professional vocalist since I was 18. Started gigging out in the area when I was about like 11 or 12.
Love.
And I went to school up in Albany at the College of St. Rose to study music. It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, okay.
So
I've heard of that. What's with upstate New York, actually? I feel like, who is it, like Paige DeSorbo or somebody said that her college closed down.
Yeah,
I'm like, what's going on upstate New York?
Yeah, I know.
Although my college actually in Philly closed down too. It's crazy.
I think a lot of schools went into debt, and then COVID kind of like pushed things into gear and really like shut things down, refreshed and restarted a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The last 7 years have really, really informed me in my purpose and direction. Going to college and moving out of my bubble of Long Island was a major shock and really incredibly transformative for me. And then coming back home, I moved back home in 2023, and it's been amazing to be here and to kind of reclaim my childhood and to rediscover things about,
work through all those shadow selves.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, so that's the best time in life.
I feel like my come up has definitely been really like reintegrating a lot of myself of like my youngest years from like birth to 10 years old, and then kind of processing through my preteens and like very early 20s, and now I'm 26, and I have so much gratitude for where I'm at right now. I feel like I'm definitely in the business of being very clear and grounded in my identity and my purpose as a human being, to integrate that into my purpose as an artist.
I love that. You know, I want to cut you off just because how emotionally intelligent all of that is. I want to say that at your age, not that I'm that much older than you, but I was not that emotionally aware. I was still so in my mental health dilemmas that I wasn't even observant enough to even have that. So I just always like to remind people that are doing that is so much courage, because most of the people, I think some of you out there, do not even want to talk about those 0 to 10, because those are the most formative years. Then you get from 10 to 20. So it's incredible.
Crazy too. Some people don't even remember those earliest years of their childhood.
A lot of that's repressed.
It's really interesting, and those were some of like the best years of my life. I remember being 10 at my 5th grade graduation, and I was like devastated, and I felt like the good old days were behind me and like real life was about to start.
She's here, she's arrived.
And then kind of like from there until graduating college and a couple years after, I feel like I was going through human school more than focusing through academia, you know?
Hold on, I did this last week. We had to put a pin in all these great lines that these beautiful humans are saying. Human school, like that's what I feel like people are missing. It's like,
I think that's what people are in, and they don't even realize it.
I'm like, I guess the conversation about it is missing, because I love that. It's like we only focus on school, or like literal school, or training, right? You're a singer. By the way, one of the most incredible voices. It's like a Fidel, and I can't even describe it because it's so unique, and your tone, everything about it is one of my faves, like 100%.
I will say also, sorry to cut you off, but
it's okay, I love it.
Vocally and musically, I feel like what's definitely been formative for me is to really develop my musical catalog and repertoire. And I feel like, I don't know if you remember, there's like this the do-do-do-do-do-do, those ad-libs kind of things, like these isms that we borrow from different musicians. Like this happens vocally too, and I feel like, you know, growing up, I was raised listening to like punk and reggae, like house music, and bossa.
Yeah, you do it all.
But I also was like a huge Disney geek and like big into the Broadway stuff, and like
I've actually never heard you sing Broadway. I would die to hear you sing Broadway. That would be like, you need to do a Spring Awakening like tomorrow. That would be
my
so awesome.
dream show actually to be in is Rent. If they ever do a Broadway revival of that, but even if there's like a Long Island production, which I know that they are around there somewhere, but I would love to be a part of that
She's
show.
right here. She's
Guys,
incredible.
I'll play any role.
I'm her agent right now. I played Mimi. So
oh my God.
Yeah.
And Mimi's an iconic character.
And actually, speaking of the most transformative, I got to play Mimi for my first college experience. I went to Philadelphia University of the Arts, and they basically told you that if you book professional work, you pretty much didn't have to come to school. So I was like, okay. And then met a bunch of people through that work, and then ended up playing Mimi. And because of the state that I was in, I think I was just out of college, and this was actually at the lowest point in my life. I was so scared because Mimi's always like, she kicks her face, she's in nothing, because she's, you know, like they always...
She's a dancer.
Exactly. And I wanted to play Mimi because I connected to her turmoil and who she was at her core. And I remember that it was terrifying. I actually had like full-blown breakdowns because I was so worried about what I was going to wear. And thank gosh, I was always blessed with the best female directors, and we worked through it all. But I always say that if you have a show, I had somebody say this to me, is that if you have a show you want to do, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Because... and whatever, even if it's a reading of it, because that whole experience, like that show helped me find my voice.
Yeah.
I had people in my musical theater classes who basically like never heard me sing, because that school told me I couldn't sing because I didn't sound like everybody else. It's pretty much what they said, except for my one voice teacher. And that show, I remember I had people that were like, I didn't even know you could sing like that. And it was like a full release. So I say, we're going to do this because Maureen, I don't know, who would you want?
I mean, I always loved Mimi as well, because I feel like her character is very
Maureen,
sexual liberation, but Maureen is also, oh my God, vocally. I would even play Joanne. I would play any character.
Yeah, Joanne.
And if they did a gender bending kind of thing, I would probably be Adam Pascal's character.
Oh, interesting.
Who is he?
That's Roger.
Roger, right?
Yeah. I was thinking more Mark.
Yeah, Mark's
We're nerding
also
out.
really
This is a
cool
theater
too.
moment right now. If you know, you know.
Oh, that show.
But I do say that you have to go and do it, because that experience changed my life. And if I didn't play Mimi, there'd be no Miss J.
You know what? And that was what was interesting too, is growing up, going into middle school and high school, those were probably the toughest years for me socially and therefore kind of creatively.
Yeah.
Because in middle school, I was kind of singled out as like a wannabe musician.
What?
And then going into high school, I went to Kellenberg, so I was like big into the drama club, performance arts, and sports.
I went to BOCES for a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and so, and I had to go to Chaminade, to the all-boys school, to get a freaking role somewhere.
We are Long Islanding up right now. Chaminade, BOCES, if you know, you know.
But it was so interesting for me because I knew that I always really wanted to pursue a music craft as my passion and my career, as something that really like I identified with, right? But then also, you know, on the social side of things, I really wanted to fit in, and I wanted to be like a regular normal girl, like a normal teenager.
Yes, every child does.
And the music that I was listening to as a young child in elementary school was like, it was very formative of just how I envisioned love and life and relationships. And, you know, like I was a Disney kid, so I was like on the playground by myself listening to Demi Lovato's Don't Forget album and Miley Cyrus's Breakout album, and the Jonas Brothers were like my first loves, and the Naked Brothers band.
I just love that. You said Disney, and my go-tos were like Sleeping Beauty, this and that, and then you went straight to the real Disney Pops.
The Disney Princess, but then the Disney Pops.
The like, world.
That was like where I was like, oh my God, like these are my stars. Like these are my like I aspire to, you know, because I mean, I also, growing up, like I loved dressing in costume, like my regular wardrobe with my dad growing up. Like he just let me he spoiled me rotten as a kid and let me like just wear Disney princess costumes. And I used to go to Camp Saras, and they had a Shrek day, and one day like they had Shrek day, and I went in with my Snow White costume, and I had this like big collar and everything, and everybody else was just wearing green. Even when I tried to blend in or tried to get into things, like I just really stuck out. I was very much odd and weird and off color and very.
I know, but this explains so much.
It does explain so much.
Enter a room. When you are on stage, it is automatic that she is unique. There's nothing that you can take. The authenticity, which is the word that everybody now.
It's a big buzzword right now.
It's a big buzzword right now. But you are so authentic, and you're authentic in your personality. When you're so like me, right? It's like when we're a mess, we're a mess. When we're the best, we're the best. It's like we wear our hearts on our sleeves. But it took me a very long time to get there. And what I find interesting, I don't know if it's just because I'm submitting so many neuro papers right now, but that individuality that your father actually gave you of allowing you to dress yourself is actually incredibly freeing. Like I came from the world as a young Spanish girl growing up in a predominantly, you know, non-Spanish community. You know, there was like a look, and then my mom and I are incredibly different. She just is this amazing, we're incredibly different feminine energies. And, you know, that kind of chasm was very intense because I couldn't choose, right? It had to be what was chosen for me.
I also relate to that energy because, like, while my dad was very generous in allowing me to explore my creativity as a very young child, going into my preteen and teen years, my mom was very much similar. Like, my mom is from Brazil.
Yes, it's a very different culture.
It's a very different culture. And, you know, I was a mixed child living in Levittown, New York, which is, you know, like, it's a sundown town. And, you know, like, I grew up, I was profiled, and I had a lot of different people asking me, like, what am I, and what's my situation.
Again, that's the, you know, misunderstanding of unique, you know.
But, like, going into like I loved wearing tutus and princess costumes and everything, but I also liked playing sports for the uniforms. Like I was always up for a good uniform. I played softball.
I've never heard that before. I was always up for a good uniform.
Like I love that. I would play the sport because I wanted like the high socks and like I wanted the jersey and I've
never heard that perspective and I love that.
But so like I was kind of a tomboy at a certain point. I was raised by my dad, and I was raised around predominantly men and male energy. But
I think that's why we connect, because I'm so masculine, and it's like it's even like my voice, like actually, like I didn't even realize for the longest time until that voice teacher in college that I was speaking in a higher tone. Just because
they try to teach you how to speak in a higher tone because it's technically correct. But like what I find interesting about what you said before about how your teachers told you that you didn't sound like everyone else is like such a power and such a great character to have in yourself, because everybody wants to sound like somebody else now, like
so true.
When I was growing up and listening to music and consuming the media that I was consuming, like I was really fashion-wise, like really into Miley Cyrus, and like I used to wear scarves as ties, and like I was
giving and
Bermuda shorts. Like we had these awkward phases fashion-wise, and like
but that's a chance.
Like the double tank tops and everything. Like that's just the Y2K kind of life. And I was also growing up around the time where we were transitioning from being like the kids on the block that would ride their bikes and knock on each other's doors to then having social media like Facebook. And
it's jarring to think about it now. I'm like, it is actually, because we're not that old, and it is crazy to be in this time period where our parents didn't know where we were when we were at our friend's house. I mean, they knew we were at our friend's house, but like they didn't have our locations, and you could still run away. It's just a matter of trust,
Yeah. And my dad ran a really strict program. Like he gave me liberties and freedoms in a lot of ways to help me discern like between right and wrong in other ways. So I was definitely a little goody two shoes growing up. I followed the rules, and I did everything that I was told, and I told my dad everything, and any question I had, I would go straight to my dad and I'd regurgitate the information that he gave to me, which at school really didn't render well because my dad's a little off color in his opinions and views.
But just snitching on everybody without even realizing it.
Yeah, it was actually really funny. Like the hairstyle that I have on today, I remember, like my dad would let me play dress up and stuff, but with the makeup, I wasn't really allowed to explore makeup until I got into like my teen years, and I got a Bratz doll for my birthday or for Christmas or something from his friend Dominic, and he like took off the shoes so I wouldn't want to play with it. And like
that whole thought process is so interesting. Like if I take it away, then maybe she won't identify with it.
It's interesting because there's no rule book on how to parent, right?
Right. But
it's like
course.
It's really a psychological game of warfare, and
parenting,
for lack of a better word,
psychological game of warfare. My sister with her 2 toddlers would agree.
So and I think I was a pretty easy child. Going into my teenage years, I definitely was coming more into my own and really wanted to be more feminine. But like I was in like 2nd grade, and these girls were putting their hair up in half up, half downs, and I was like, oh, I was told that looks kind of trampy, and I can't believe that I would say such a thing, because actually, like, what's not to like about a little trampy vampy look,
We love a tramp.
So it was a very interesting, like, then going into my preteen years. Middle school was probably the roughest time for me because I was so myself, and I was so blindsided by the reality of, like, I got a little bit of a taste of what it feels like to have people project their opinions onto you, and not even to your face,
In middle school, you felt like you were so yourself.
I was so myself.
It's shocking. I mean, it's understandable, because in just meeting you, that seems, again, your awareness is incredible. But to say that, like, as somebody in middle school, like, I couldn't have been more not myself.
Well, because I was 10 when I started playing guitar, and you know, like, it goes into the idea of like me realizing at my 5th grade graduation that I was like, this is where the real work starts. I go into 6th grade and I had a great experience. I made a lot of friends, and like I loved decorating my lockers in homeroom. I would decorate everybody's lockers, and like during Christmas, and I got appendicitis in 6th grade, or maybe it was 7th or something, and I like messaged everybody on Facebook, and I'd always write everything. I'm like, yeah, like, this is what I'm doing and this is what I'm thinking, and I got appendicitis, and like, you know, I had this, like, I thought everybody cared.
Not the Facebook blog post.
Right.
Remember those days? It was like, today I woke up and then I went down the street and then I felt this way. And we all were like podcasting in words on our Facebook in our lives. I'm like, every time I see those come up, I'm like, delete.
Exactly. That's how I am too, because I get so embarrassed. And I had gotten a YouTube channel when I was about like 9 or 10, and it was really nice of my dad to let me have those things.
For your guitar,
you know,
or just in general?
To sing. Yeah. And I would post videos of me singing. They're all gone now. Like, there's no trace of it, unless YouTube were to find it in their own personal archives. I have no way of retrieving those things, which makes me, I think it's maybe it's better for everybody, but like a part
those
of
are
me,
like childhood movies,
it kind of, a part of me wishes that I would have kept it, because like climbing up Cringe Mountain per se is like the new cool, and back then I was all
Cringe
that
Mountain
is cringe, you know, and everybody knew it. And you know, it's so funny. Like, I started playing guitar when I was going into middle school, and then I would do the talent shows at school. And I was in 8th grade, so I was about 12 or 13, and X Factor came to Long Island. So
like the show?
The show. Oh. They did their auditions at Nassau Coliseum. Oh. So I auditioned. I got past quite a few producer rounds. They filmed me singing If I Ain't Got You and When I Was Your Man. I didn't end up getting on the show because I didn't realize I signed a confidentiality agreement, and like my dad was posting updates on Facebook.
Oh, yeah,
and then kids were talking about it on this anonymous platform called Ask FM, and they started posting about me, and that's where I got that taste of people's opinions, because a rumor ran around, and I remember I was in the girls' locker room at gym, and these girls were like kind of teasing me, like, oh, don't forget me when you're famous kind of energy. And I was like, I'm gonna forget about all you bitches when you're famous. And that pissed some people off, and a couple anonymous people wrote that I said that, and there were a slew of comments.
Wow.
Terrible things that like absolutely broke my heart, and I didn't even know about it until this girl, Nicole.
Oh, she just dropped that name.
Well, she messaged me. Nicole. I was going to do a first last name basis, but I don't want to.
No government names here, please.
Listen, the past is in the past, but she was like a real one, and she sent me a message. She was like, hey, Kyla, like, just want to let you know, like, no matter what anybody says, I believe in you. Like, I think you're awesome. And I was like, what are people saying? Then I look and I see all of these comments, Taylor Swift wannabe, this things. And so I posted on Facebook, and I was like, I just want to say it's such a huge compliment to be compared to like a multi-nominated Grammy Award-winning songwriter, right? But you know, it was heartbreaking and devastating for me to realize that, you know, if like as much as I really put my best foot forward out there and tried to be like the best of myself in a classroom with my peers, there was this other side of it that was just like, she's just this weird singer wannabe girl, and she's just like weird. And
this also brings up this great, you know, conversation that I think about all the time with my sister's kids, that this part of the internet, this part of you know, social media, like, how much of that do you allow in the space of the fragility of childhood and teenage years? Like, that's traumatic. But I do want to say, because what I love about you is that this conversation just flowed, and what you're really talking about are a few habits that I want to adjust into our little habit phase. We know we want to develop all new habits together that are going to help us develop more fruitful lives. And for me, a lot of yours is awareness. Mm-hmm. What I'm seeing is you see a lot of clarity about your life? Do you journal? Do you take a minute? Do you think about that? What do you do to get all this clarity?
I journal. Definitely, I've been journaling for a very, very long time. When I was younger, I also used to make contracts for myself, like in the beginning of the new year or at certain points in the year. Like I'd make contracts for myself of like what I wanted to do differently, and I'd sign them and everything.
I am so obsessed. Like I know this girl, by the way. I know her, but it's like I feel like
we're getting deeper. This has been like long overdue also.
And I'm doing it on TV.
Which is so fun.
Which is so fun.
Back.
But I just think that is so, again, it's just like the awareness that you have is so incredible for like not having like I'm a therapist with my PhD and et cetera, et cetera. So, okay, journaling, I want to get the habits out. So journaling,
I think
100%.
Also being really open to talk about feelings, like that, while that's been definitely like a bit of, I'm a talker. Like I talk about my experiences.
I didn't have to like do anything today. I'm obsessed.
I've always been very open, and like as a child,
so am I.
To be very vulnerable that way could render some difficult situations for myself.
I wasn't as a child, but now I'm like, I had an eating disorder, I had depression, I like to talk it out.
Well, I didn't even know about any of those things. Like I couldn't put a name to the things that I was experiencing as a child, but I was open about the things I was experiencing as a little girl, and even as a young woman. Like I think that in awareness, it also takes like allowing there to be another ear to what you're experiencing, because I could write down what I'm experiencing and it still didn't feel like I was processing through it well enough, because I'm like, I only know my own experience, right? So I was very open to like
having that objective perspective.
Right.
And, oh my gosh, I forgot the second best thing you just said. The contracts. Like I am going home and writing a contract. I finally started to put my goals. Like I have this great Emma Green. She's another great podcaster. She created Skims and Good American with the Kardashians. But she like has this episode where she like breaks down like how to do your goals, and I've never actually written my goals down. It's like my goals are always up here, which is fine.
But it's so interesting because you've manifested it into reality.
Yes,
whereas
I'm seeing even more progress in the past 2 months, because I did it like a month before January.
Of outlining.
Yeah, just like of the goals, how I'm going to achieve them all, and I've achieved more in these 2 months because of that. So it's so striking. So we need one more. What's another good Kyla Silk habit?
Blind faith. Honestly, blind faith.
That is like the best way to end.
With that awareness and then being vulnerable, having the blind faith to know that like
at the end of the day, though, is it really?
Well, I guess so, but it's like, I mean, sometimes we can put our faith in things after having been informed on the consequences or the benefits of putting our faith into that.
Then you feel safe to have faith in it.
Right. But like I live and have lived my life through blind faith, and I'm so grateful. This has been like one of the biggest opportunities for me to expand and like really open my heart as an individual person, because we live in such a polarizing world, especially right now. And I only told you a little bit of like my growing up, but people
she is coming back. We are continuing this conversation.
People that know me definitely know where I came from. Yeah. And so, it's been interesting because I've met a lot of different people in my life, and because I've allowed myself to be open and receptive to all different walks of life and all different kinds of people, it's allowed me to really shape myself as an individual who believes in compassion and love, and like that overall frequency of coming together.
I was just gonna say togetherness. I was just gonna say that. I needed to touch you because I'm so thankful you did this.
I'm so thankful that you asked me.
This is just the beginning. I know we didn't even talk about a theme for today. We just chatted, and that's why I love you, because I knew that it was just gonna flow effortlessly. So let's take a moment. We're going to journal. We're going to make some new contracts, and we're going to have some fun with just having blind faith. It's going to work out. We all are going to come together. And if we do that, then we just develop more connections. And what do? Better our experience.
Yes.
You see what I did there?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, guys. Let's dance. Hey, hey, hey.